Broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Here's your host, Andrew Romanella.
Okay? Like, just get the hell out of here. Nobody cares what you think if you're not a Mets fan.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of The Rome Show here on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. We got you for the next 30 minutes and change, and I'm sure...
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Guess what day it is?
Hump day!
And we got your Hump Day headlines the entire 30 minutes of today's show. What we do on Wednesday is we snake you through as many top stories as we possibly can to keep you locked on the remaining week ahead in the sports world. Like I said, YouTube, The Romanellas, hit subscribe, Instagram, Twitter, X, The Rome Show 1, that's The Rome Show, then the number 1, and Facebook, The Rome Show. Super simple. Head to wherever you want to follow us, hit subscribe, hit follow, whatever word it is, and be locked on the show. You miss any of the show, any of it, the Rome Show podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. We've been broadcasting live on Instagram as well, so we're monitoring the comments section on Instagram as much as the Twitter X and Facebook/YouTube. All right, I say we get right into the show here. Okay, let's start off with some Hump Day headlines.
Hump day!
First and foremost, coming out of Detroit, Tarik Skubal shall be okay for his start on Thursday. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this or if you've been paying attention or if anyone out there is a major Detroit Tigers fan, okay? But A, Tarik Skubal is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and 2, he's a key reason the Detroit Tigers can compete at all right now and are leading the AL Central. The good thing for the Tigers is they are in the postseason, okay? And they are 5.5 up on the Cleveland Guardians, who have seemingly faltered in their pursuit of the Tigers and the AL Central. So now it comes down to a scenario where we just need Skubal to be healthy if you're a Tigers fan, okay? And so last week when he leaves the game with some rib tightness, you're super concerned. But he gets to his scheduled bullpen on Monday, and he shall make his scheduled start on Thursday. So if you're somebody out there putting bananas on Skubal, if you're somebody out there that's rooting for the Detroit Tigers, or somebody that's preparing to play against this team in the first round of the postseason, Tarik Skubal is going to be making his scheduled Thursday start for the Tigers. Tomorrow, Hump Day headlines, we continue.
Hump day!
Anthony Volpe is back for the New York Yankees. Now, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing if you're a Yankees fan. However, the few days off because of the second cortisone shot might have done really well for the young shortstop who came back yesterday for the Yankees and had a really good game. Here's the backstory on this. During the year, I believe it was in May, Volpe hurt his shoulder. I believe he tore a ligament in his shoulder, got a cortisone shot. That cortisone shot has lasted him to early part of September. He dove for a ball somewhere around September 7th, about 10 days ago, and re-aggravated that shoulder, got another cortisone shot, and has not played in a week. Came back last night for the Yankees and went 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. Sometimes, whether you want it or you don't, your step back away from the game can be very positive. Though, not a great year for Anthony Volpe by any stretch of the imagination, hitting 208, 19 homers, 71 RBIs, a 667 OPS. Looking at his numbers, despite what some Yankees fans or anyone that thinks he's terrible might want to hear, I'm not going to sit up on this microphone and defend the type of season Anthony Volpe is having. I'm just going to state the facts. This is the most RBIs he's ever had in a season, the most doubles he's ever had in a season, and the best slugging percentage he has ever had. So I'm not saying that that's all to hang your hat on. The dude's hitting 209, and he's not living up to the standards of the first pick in the draft for you, of the future shortstop, right? That he's in, by definition of what you're expecting out of him, he's not living up to that. But when a season is presumably, as people have called it, terrible, atrocious, bad, god-awful, whatever terminology people have used to describe it, okay, there is still some silver lining in this season for Anthony Volpe. Who knows? Maybe the May injury is the pure reason why he then downticked. It's been 3 straight years where he started the year off and we're like, okay, maybe he's figuring it out. And then you feel like you're in this moment, or he goes through a crazy stretch of not being great. That's inexcusable. But he's played the least amount of games in his career so far in a season and has the most RBIs, most doubles, and the highest slugging percentage. And those are some good numbers to look at. Okay. So I don't believe that this is the last opportunity for Anthony Volpe as the shortstop for the New York Yankees. Okay. I think there is another 162 game season in here where the Yankees are going to give him that shot. They're going to train him to be this guy, and they're not going to move on from him. But the rope is really short now for Volpe. And this injury does not help, though early returns after the second cortisone shots are good. By the way, youtube.com/the Romanellas, youtube.com/the Romanellas, or Twitter, X, and Instagram, The Rome Show 1. You can comment live on the show, and we can have ourselves a nice discussion. We continue here on a Wednesday. We're doing Hump Day headlines on The Rome Show. All right. Staying in baseball, we got 2 more for you here in Major League Baseball because we are down the hatchet of this season, which we will talk about in a second. But the Astros, who are competing right now, both for the AL West, half a game back of the Seattle Mariners, and the wild card spots in the American League, have lost again 3-time All-Star Yordan Alvarez, who has been listed as out for a while with a bad ankle sprain. Now, I don't know what a while means, okay, because the Astros don't have a while, considering what I just stated. Half game back from the Seattle Mariners in the AL West battle, and they are currently right now a half game up on Boston and a game and a half back of the Yankees in that second wild card spot. The percentage chances of the Astros making the playoffs are very high. I believe they sit at 88.9%. Okay. So I don't believe this is a scenario where this injury is going to cause them now to falter and not make the playoffs. Alvarez missed 101 games to start the year because of a wrist injury, I believe it was. Fractured hand. So they have been playing the Astros, that is, without him all season. This is really just a gut punch after you finally got him back. He's played 48 games. He's hitting 273, starting to work his way back to his 3-time All-Star status, and bang. And this is the hardest part of the year, to be losing those big guys, which brings us to our last Hump Day headline from Major League Baseball.
Hump Day!
There are a bunch of teams that have been eliminated, but there are only 10 or 11 games remaining in the schedule for Major League Baseball. So if your team is on the brink of elimination, or your team is on the brink of securing a playoff spot, or your team is on the precipice of winning their division, now is that time. Some teams have a magic number of 1 or 2. Some fights are going to go on for longer, much like the AL West one we just talked about. But these teams have been eliminated. The Colorado Rockies, Pittsburgh Pirates, Washington Nationals, Los Angeles Angels, Minnesota Twins, Chicago White Sox, and Baltimore Orioles. 7 teams out. No chance of making the playoffs. Realistically, when you look at the standings in the AL, we're talking about 8 teams. 3 from the AL East, 2 from the AL Central, 3 from the AL West. In the NL, we're talking about, and this is teams that are alive, okay? Like, I'm not putting the Marlins in this category at 71 and 80, but they haven't been, quote unquote, mathematically eliminated, okay? But in the NL, you're talking about 7, 8 teams. So let's call it 16. So half the league still has a chance to make the postseason with 6 total slots on the National League side and 6 total slots on the American League side. We are coming down the hatchet, the tunnel. We're coming down the home stretch. Whatever cliche you want to use. That's what's happening in Major League Baseball, and it's about to be a lot of fun. This is the time in baseball. If you haven't watched in June, July, and August because, quote unquote, the season's too long, hop back in the saddle now because this is when baseball gets very fun. I mean, I'm having a great time here on the Rome Show, broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. Missed any part of this show? Go to the Rome Show podcast wherever you get your podcast. Going to continue on with Hump Day headlines, and I got the NFL Week 3 injury report for the people. But it would behoove me if I did not spend a second wishing Rocky Romanella, the one and only Hockey with Rocky, a very, very happy birthday. No, that's not it. There it is. When you hear this sounder, Rocky joins us once a week
Inside the glass
on the Rome Show, and he is our guy.
Right? I want to start hearing that it's important that a team is practicing their defensive 2-minute drill because no one in the NFL can stop anyone with like if you have over a minute left, you're kicking a field goal every time.
One of the greatest points the birthday guys ever made. When you play battle with, let me see if I can find. I got one more for the people. Wide World. No, it's not it. I legitimately watched the entire. We're gonna go through the sound just like me and Nico right now. There's his goal horn.
I can't handle this 2 Rocky Romanella thing.
Well, it's only one Rocky Romanella's birthday, and we wanted to take a second to wish him a very, very happy birthday. We've had a lot of fun here on the Rome Show, speaking once a week, candidly, may I say, about sports, about each other's fanship. We've been probably broadcasting back and forth on the Rome Show for at least 4 years now, maybe longer. Could be. It really could be longer. But Rocky is a staple of the Rome Show Weekly here. So we just wanted to take a second to wish him a very happy 21st birthday. Rocky, first alcoholic beverages on us tonight. Enjoy your birthday. We look forward to your absolutely electric breakdown of NASCAR, the Rangers, the Giants, the Mets struggles, and so much more in the sports world. We'll take a quick commercial break, which you should sponsor, by the way, and support the Rome Show. Just saying. Quick commercial break. We'll come back. After that, we'll give you the rest of our Hump Day headlines, and we will go into our NFL Week 3 injury report. Andrew Romanella, the Rome Show, back after this. Yeah. It's the Rome Show. We are broadcasting live on the old YouTube.com/the Romanellas. Instagram, Twitter X, The Rome Show 1. Facebook, The Rome Show. So many places to get involved. Instagram Live, Twitter X Live, Facebook Live. I mean, it's just so easy for the people. All right. Anyway, you can get it. The Rome Show. I'm Andrew Romanella. We got like 10 minutes left on this show. It's a Wednesday, so we call it our Hump Day headlines. We bring you around the sports world and give you the information. We go on the ice. Rocky mentioned this yesterday on his Rockies Roundup. The National Hockey League training camp is starting this week, more specifically for a lot of teams today, yesterday, and tomorrow. But that's not the only update. The New York Rangers have named another captain, more specifically, their 29th captain in franchise history. JT Miller was named the captain of the New York Rangers yesterday. All right, JT Miller, the Rangers traded back for in the middle of the season. Really nice run with the team late. However, this is a Rangers team that's going to need some serious captaining with Mike Sullivan taking over as the new head coach and the Rangers missing the playoffs last season. So a lot of change at Madison Square Garden. Mike Sullivan, however, two-time Stanley Cup champion coach with the Pittsburgh Penguins for the last 9.5 years. Wildly, the first game of the year for the Rangers is the Pittsburgh Penguins. So Mike Sullivan, right off the jump, gets a return to his home base for the last 9.5 years in Pittsburgh. Also, the Chicago Blackhawks, they signed goalie Spencer Knight to a 3-year, $17.5 million extension. The Boston College graduate was 17-16-3 last season with the Hawks, and in his career is 49-33-9 with 5 shutouts. As you know, if you are a hockey person, and as you don't know if you aren't a hockey person, who is in between the pipes for every team is much like the quarterback for football, okay, the starting rotation for baseball, okay, the point guard for basketball. That's just a fact. There's no winning a championship in the National Hockey League without good defense and goaltending. There's no competing in the National Hockey League without somebody between the pipes that can be elite for your team. There are certain positions in sports that there's nothing you can do about it. If this position is not above average, every day they show up, it's going to be very hard for us to win a championship. And that's goaltending in hockey, okay? So when you got a goalie that you think is good enough, you have to lock them up. Because much like I talk about offensive linemen in football or a catcher in baseball, those positions are not loved by everybody. Those positions are not sexy by definition. So it is more difficult to find somebody in that position that wants it, that is good at it, and is going to be good at it long term. But goaltending, I really mean it. Much like the quarterback position in football, or what people believe the quarterback position is importance-wise, is that for hockey. You got Swiss cheese between the pipes, you are not going to win a lot of hockey games. Once we get Rocky back on the airwaves next week, for his spot next week, he will have a full National Hockey League rundown. We could tell you that. All right, finally, we got the injury report for the people in the National Football League, which I think is going to be very important for some of you because the fantasy footballs. I know last night I was making all my waiver claims and trying to figure out what am I doing with my team. Really amped in one league. I picked up the Green Bay Packers defense. Okay. I mean, this feels stupid to say out loud, but I guess I just didn't even realize, like, they add Micah Parsons 2 really good weeks and they're sitting there available in my free agency pool. And we're the type of league that gives you like 100 bananas and you got to choose how much bananas you want to claim in for a certain position or a certain player. All right. And then that gives you the opportunity to get that player over somebody else. And I'm like, this is well worth the $5 or whatever it was. Like, this is well worth me spending money. That's the team. That's a position in fantasy football where if you have the best defense in the league, best 2 or 3 defenses in the league, you can almost guarantee yourself 10 to 12 points. And like, the defense should not be winning you games in fantasy football, but damn, it can lose you games. So for me, I found Green Bay in one of my 2 leagues, instantaneously picked up the Green Bay Packers. So here's your injury report right now. Some of the major, this is not everybody that's injured in the National Football League. If that was the case, we'd have another hour and a half left of this show. I just wanted to give you the main ones that you need to be weary of for both your bananas when it just comes to straight up teams, props, and parlays, and then your fantasy football or your pick'em fools. Here we go. In Minnesota, we got 2, and they're really big. J.J. McCarthy, he's out 2 to 4 weeks. And Aaron Jones, the running back, is out at least 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. Carson Wentz is going to be the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. That is your stat of the day real quick. How about this? Carson Wentz now starts for his 6th team in the National Football League. That is a record for amount of teams somebody has officially started for. I don't know if that's a good stat to have or a bad stat to have. We'll leave that up to your interpretation. Head down to Tampa Bay, where the Buccaneers are 2-0 for the 5th straight season. However, Kalijah Kearney, is now hurt, torn, heck, possibly find out today, out for the season. If that's the case, the defensive end had 11.5 sacks last season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a good defense. It's a defense that's played well in the first 2 weeks of the season, holding their opponent essentially under 20 points each week. So that's going to be a big loss for the Buccaneers. Changes things when you look at that defense and the pressure they can get on the quarterback. Head to Cincy. We obviously mentioned this in some headlines in the last 2 days, but Joe Burrow, toe injury, out for 3 months. Okay, Jake Browning in for 3 months. That tells me a lot. Stay away from the Cincinnati Bengals when we're talking about pick'ems. You might want to take the under in a lot of their offensive scoring moving forward. But the Bengals are 10 games over 500 when Joe Burrow plays, and they are 2 games under 500 when Joe Burrow is hurt. And by the way, this is a common theme for the Cincinnati Bengals. I saw a statistic this morning that states every year of Joe Burrow's career, another stat for you today. Every year of Joe Burrow's career, he has played behind one of the 5 worst offensive lines in the National Football League. Okay, so what good is Joe Burrow behind your offensive line if he's going to have a serious injury every year? Brings me back to my point I literally just mentioned 10 seconds ago, but I've talked about a lot. Without an offensive line, it doesn't matter what the name or the talent of that guy behind you is, because the Cincinnati Bengals are the prime example. Maybe, just maybe, had the Cincinnati Bengals spent more draft capital on the offensive line and then worried about the quarterback down the line, you might have a better offensive line playing with Jake Browning as your starter, but that still might be better than Joe Burrow getting hurt behind this offensive line and not even be able to get the ball to Jamar Chase anyways. That's an extreme example, okay? But Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens because he was behind a really good offensive line, had a really good running game, and an elite defense. That should be the path, and then try and find yourself an elite quarterback. In Chicago, their defense took a really big hit. Jalen Johnson, he's going to be out this coming week with a groin injury. That cornerback has been shut down to a degree for the Chicago Bears. And this is a Bears team that's 0-2. So that is not good for them heading into week 3, where they are really, new head coach Ben Johnson is really trying to avoid an 0-3 start. How about this one? Sean McVay, the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, in their 33-19 victory over the weekend, tore his plantar fascia, which is the outside ligament of your foot. I don't know how he did it, what he did doing it, but this is why ladies and gentlemen, you must stretch. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what your job is. I don't care if you're a talking head like myself sitting behind a desk. Stretch your body, people. Okay? It's only going to be good for your muscles. It's only going to be good for you. And Sean McVay, he's now torn his plantar fascia and has to wear a boot while coaching the Rams. What a wild injury to see on the injury report. And finally, Jacksonville, who is 1-1 and a little bit of turmoil. Trevor Lawrence pretty much shooing off Liam Cohen. I've been saying this since Liam Cohen was hired. Go back on the Rome Show podcast, wherever you find the podcast. I think the words I used were tool when he did the duo when he got hired, and the way he left Tampa Bay gave you all of the bad guy tendency thought processes that could be bad guy tendency thought processes. I really mean that. And 2 games in, Trevor Lawrence is going like this to his head coach, who also looks like he's acting like an idiot on the sidelines. Like, obviously, your starting quarterback who's won a national championship and was the first overall pick. I think he understands he's trying to hit the guy in the chest, okay? But that's less about that and more about what that really means, about the respect level for the Jags and their head coach. Well, Brian Thomas Jr. is now questionable with an injury, their wide receiver who's been hooking up with Trevor Lawrence when it's going good. So not necessarily good for Jacksonville, but definitely not good for people's fantasy teams, because I know Brian Thomas Jr. is a big-time flex play out there for the people. Those are your Hump Day headlines on September 17th. Great day. It's a great day in the Romanella family. A very happy birthday to the one and only Hockey with Rocky, Rocky's Roundup, whichever iteration of him joining the show you want to call it. Let's call that the Rome Show here on a Wednesday. Hope everybody had a great day. I had a great time. I have a great time every time I'm here, and I think that's because I'm biased because my face is on the show. Thank you to everybody who tunes in. Thank you to everybody that subscribes on all the social media accounts. I love the people. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:05. Until then, you please have an electric day. This is Andrew Romanella, and I'm saying peace.